Let's start configuring the SALSA platform in 3 servers. I'm going to use Windows 2012, and I have a virtualization platform, my laptop. I'm using Oracle VM for running 3 virtual servers. Minimal configuration just for the testing. We separate the servers to enhance the performance of the future platform for production. This is only a test, so normally you should have much more memory and much more processors. So it is just in order to show how it is configured. Um, so first server is called SALSA. It has just 2 megabytes in RAM, 2 processors. Server 2, IB server, same thing, 2 megabytes in RAM, 2 processors, and this third server, same thing. So the 3 servers are running and configured. They are already patched. They have the latest updates. One important thing is that they have a specific name, system name. In this case, it is WinSalsa. When you clone the servers, uh, what I did before for simplifying the configuration, I just create a first server Windows 2012 and I clone it 3 times for my servers. The question here is that you will have the same system name. So make sure that you have different system names and also that you have different MAC addresses. Some cases, your virtualization platform will give you the same MAC address. So if you have the same MAC address, you will have problems on the bridge, and probably you will have a kind of loop, and you cannot be able to connect correctly between the servers. So okay, I have here a specific name and a specific MAC address, and I have the same thing for the other servers. So server 2, so WinIV server, the MAC address, and the IP address. So same subnet. The other was also 192.168.1. That 162. This one, the other was 61. SALSA server 3 has this IP address, and the name should be also specific. So Win portal, right? The MAC address, etc. So same subnet and 163 at the end. So we have that 192, that 168, that 161 for the server ones, that 162 for server 2, and that 163 for this server 3. So another thing is that all the servers must have the firewall inactivated, so turn off. This case is the server 1, and the other 2 servers also have the Windows firewall of no antivirus. If you need security, which is definitively important, you can create security zones for each of the server or for some of the servers, maybe the server 2 and server 3 in a VLAN, and server 1, which is the public piece of the servers, in another VLAN in a militarized zone, etc. So we are not going to discuss the security aspects today here, so it is just the configuration, the installation of the servers. So let us start installing the platform. So the first step is in the server 3, installing the Vista Cockpit, which is the supervisor of different modules for the different servers, and also is a tool for troubleshooting, for monitoring, and for installing patches. So let us install Vista Cockpit. We have already downloaded the different software on servers. So Vista Cockpit, you can obtain the software from the Infovista support portal. So, and you can see here the path. This one is data Windows PM setup. So I'm going to run this is install piece. So, and accept the terms of license agreement. Next, going to use all the full parameters. So this path, I'm going to use the first option, Vista Cockpit server and console. Those ports. This port is important to remember. 7609, which is the port for linking the different servers. So it is the port that uses Cockpit to talk with the other two servers, and the other two servers also with their agent to talk with the server 3. So next, install. And the configuration has been done correctly. So done. And I'm going to find out the icon of the cockpit console. So the management console over here, and I'm selected. I'm going to pin it to the taskbar to make it easier for its accessibility. So I have this Vista Cockpit console over here. I can select it with the parameters by default. So the server and the administrator, no password by default. And I have here my first server. So it is populated automatically. The hosts are populated automatically. And second thing to do is to update the Vista Cockpit using the hotfix for the cockpit in itself. So downloads, and I have here the Vista Cockpit hotfix. So I select it. Next, Win Portal Cockpit Server, and next, finish. And the hotfix is going to be deployed. So it has been deployed, and there is a restart of the Vista Cockpit. Again, I'm going to enter into the console with the default parameters, administrator, no password. I need to wait a little for the services. Services are restarting. Let us try again. And we will see that there is an update of the system here. It's going to take some seconds and restore again. So, and I can select my icon over here. Again, some same thing. And entering again to the console. I'm here in tasks, so the hotfix distribution is over here, and this is the hotfix that we just deployed. So it seems that everything is working so far so good. So second step is installing SALSA, the IPBOS package in the server 1. sorry, server 1 is over here, and I have also all the packages in the downloads. So the IPBOS Windows, Windows install IPBOS setup. I am using the version 9.3.0, and I'm going to accept the terms. I'm going to use this default path. So it is going to create the directories, and I'm going to take all the components for the IPBOS package. So the domain configuration, the reverser, platform configuration, the web server for Windows, and the Java developer kit. So next, I'm going to use this local path again, standard by default. Here I have those ports and IP address for the platform server. So it is the IP address of the local server. All the ports by default. This is the port that I'm going to use in HTTPS. So administrator for the administrator user, and password is admin. Next. And here we have some elements for the database, Postgre, MySQL, all by default, and the database port also by default. So next, here something which is important is the reverser, but I'm going to use also the different standard defaults. So this port is going to be used for the reverser configuration, so you will configure it directly on the appliances. Next. So here it's something important as well. You need to define the IP address of the third server, 192.168.1.163, because it is the server of the cockpit that we just installed. So next, and next. So that's it. We're going to wait the complete installation. Good. So we are going to create the shortcuts next, and we have finished the installation of the IPBOS group of packages. I can test the connection to the Apache server. So 192.168.1.161, and it seems it is working. I'm going to accept the exception of security, administrator, and admin, and it is working. Usually, the cockpit supervision agent is installed automatically, and if we back to the server 3, we should have populated. It seems that there is not installed the cockpit agent on the server 1. So let us install or reinstall the agent of server 1. Again, normally it should be installed automatically when you install the packages. So I have this on the same package of IP bus. So it is on Windows, Cockpit, Agent, and Windows 32 setup. Run. Next. Yes, next, next. Here is the IP address of the Cockpit server 163. The port 7609. Next. And finish. And if we back to the server number 3 with the Vista Cockpit console, probably it will start to work in some seconds. So waiting for that, where we are going to install the IP reporter in server 1 to complete the configuration of server 1. So back to server 1, and here we have downloads IP reporter. IP reporter allows the importation of reports for the SALSA package or IP bus. So it is Windows over here, reporter setup. I take run. Next, accept the terms of the license. We have two pieces, one for the SALSA domain configuration server and one for the Infovista server. So by default, I'm going to use this. I'm in the server 1. Next, 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 and that's it. So server 1 is configured. At least it's installed at the level of the packages. Let us back to here, and we can see here right now that Windows SALSA, the server of SALSA, appear here, is populating the Vista Cockpit. So it is working. So next step is going to the server 2 and install the IV server. Server 2. So I have IV server over here. Downloads IV server. Setup. Run. Next. I'm going to accept the agreement. Next. 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 Again, the port 7609 and the IP address of Vista Cockpit supervisor 192.168.1.163. Next, I'm even do a test connection. It's working. Next. So I have an evaluation key for the license. This is the system ID. If you need license for more months, this is only for 30 days for 1 month. If you need an evaluation key for more time, you can ask for this license to our support, Infovista support. through a solutions consultant, for instance, and you will be asked to have the system ID. You can send all this. You can copy and paste this, and you will have in return key. You will copy and paste this string and paste over here this new string and save and close. So in this case, it's just the evaluation for the test of the installation. I'm going to say yes. I'm creating the server runtime, which is called IV1, and finished. So it seems to be good. And if I back to my server 3 again, Vista Cockpit, I'm going to have probably the server over here. And that's it. I have this IV server. When you install the IV server, there is an agent, if you remember, of Vista Cockpit, and we have this. We need to install the hotfix. This is the patch of the Vista server, and we have here the hotfix. Next, I select the hotfix and I do next and finish. And the hotfix has been successfully deployed. So next step is installing the IP reporter in this server 2. The IP reporter is the group of templates or libraries that are going to be installed in the IV server. The IV server is a generic kind of platform, and you need to define the templates that you are going to use. And in this case, are the templates related with the Ipanema system. So it is in IP reporter, uh, Windows, and IP reporter setup. So let us run it. So next, I'm going to accept the terms of the license. And we have two options. It's the same software I run in the first server on SALSA platform. So I run before this option for the domain configuration server, and now I'm going to run over here in Infovista server. Is by default this option, so the standard default directory. I'm going to say next, and here you can see it is the importation of Infovista libraries. We have the IV1 instance, and we are going to use this name when we will configure the domain on the SALSA server. So the administrator login is administrator, no password by the moment, and we are going to import these libraries into the Infovista server. And it is done. So let us go to the server 3 and see the cockpit supervision. Next step is installing the hotfix for the IV server. So let us see, and this is my hotfix. So yeah, going to select it next, and I have here my IV server instance and requires the installation of the hotfix. So it is going to be deployed, and it has been deployed successfully. So closed. We can see here the hotfix. So okay, that's working now on the Ivy server. So next step is configuring in this third server the Infovista portal. So the portal SE, and portal SE is the piece that is going to allow us to connect the Ivy server reporting with the SALSA portal. So we have over here in Vista Portal Standard Edition, disk 1, ins data, Windows, VM, and setup. So I can run it. So this is the portal that allows getting all the templates and reports from Ivy server. So I don't have any Apache service in this server, so I don't need to stop the Apache services, obviously. But maybe if you have another server that is also running some Apache services, you must to stop them. So can go to the next step and accept the license agreement and use this default path. Next for this name of the URL, the memory allocated, okay, and install. Okay, so we have already installed the Portal SE. Before installing the hotfix, let us try to access via the browser the Portal SE, so the web server. And here we have the IP address 192.168.1.163. This is the port 10.0080 and Portal SE. So let us, yeah, it is working. Let us see if it is working. That's fine. And so now we can install the hotfix on the cockpit console. So downloads in the hotfix of Portal SE over here. Next, we have here the option. Next, and we are installing this patch. Okay, successfully deployed. The Portal SE is going to be restart. So over here, we have our icon here. It's restarting. So yeah, it is recovering. And the last step of the installation process is installing the web IP reporter. So here I have the software, Windows, and IP reporter web setup. So this piece is the link between the SALSA server or portal and the portal SE for Ivy server. So we have all this by default. So next, and it has been successfully installed, done. And again, it required a restart of the Portal SC service. It has been done, and we are going to recover the Portal SC again. So let us, yeah, it is starting, and let us try again over here just to make sure the Portal SC service is working. Yeah, perfect. So awesome. We need now to go to our SALSA server, the server 1, and configure a domain. So we can configure a domain. So we have our SALSA platform configuration over here that we saw before. So I can go directly, and I'm going to activate the license. I need to import from about my license file. So browse, and I have here a license for test. So okay, and I have with this license 55 domains activated. So I have 10,000 ISUs. You need more or less ISUs depending on the number of appliances and services active. So 2,500 appliances over here, physical or virtual, and I have also 2,500 tele engines. So we have control, compression, the tele engine, the dynamic one selection, so network right sizing, SALSA reporting, 5 view for troubleshooting. So okay, that's working, and let us start defining the domain server, and we need so a name. In this case, the host name is my IP address 192.168.1.161, and okay, update. It's just as easy as that. We need to wait that the status change to green, which means that the server is active, and that's it. It is green. So the next step is creating the reporting portal, which is the portal SE. So we can create it from here, new, and the portal SE name or host name is 192.168.1.163. The third server is in a standalone. We don't. I'm not using the Vista Mart. So the base URL is portal SE, and 10.080 is the port for HTTP that we already test. So okay, update. And now, as I mentioned, we are not using Vista Mart, so we have a single IV server runtime server, no IV server groups. So I can go directly to the IV server runtime and select new. So my host name is 192.168.1.162. If you remember, is the server 2. So standalone again. So no password, and I'm going to select the reporting portal. So this, and okay. So update, and I'm going to have my IV server runtime, which is the piece that has all the reports for my domains. Now with these elements, I can create my domain. So over here, I'm going to use Infovista, for instance, for a new domain. uh, this is the single server domain that I have. So I'm going to use Windows and ISUs again, depending on the number of the appliances and services. You should require more or less. It will be enabled. The access port can be 0, and I'm going to use central time, for example. Central time should be over here, and SNMP port will be 6162. So this is my IP address. The community name is public, and the IB server runtime is this that we just configured, so by default. And all that by default for my reporting. I'm going to use long reporting 5 minutes instead of 15. Is uh, the highest level of granularity for the reporting, so I'm not using radius. Uh, and well, this option of SaaS applications for the directory service is only limited. I'm going to use for the test this. So okay, and I applied the changes with the update, and I'm going to wait uh, for this domain to turn to green, to be active. It is yellow, and hopefully we will have it in green. It is green, so I can access it right now. So with the same IP address of the SALSA server, so right now we have two options, SALSA platform configuration and Infovista. This is my new domain, so I can go to access the domain. And it seems everything is working on the domain at the level of dashboards, configuration as well. So to activate and test the reporting piece, I need to activate the service of visibility over here for the whole domain. So yes, and we are going to wait for the server. Okay, that's up and running, and the database should be also active. So perfect, this is green, and let us go to the reporting. So probably we will have the reports of this domain, and yes, great. So we have the global reports of the domain per day, per hour, per month, per week. So obviously it's a new domain. We don't have any information yet, but you have all the templates here. So for instance, the PM detail per application group, and you have all that. We need, of course, time to populate all this information. So great. I think we cover the installation process for SALSA with reporting, 3 servers, Windows 2012. We activate the license, and we have this domain active. So if I summarize the steps, first of all, you need to install your cockpit in the server 3, this platform. So from here you can monitor your different servers. And second step is to install the hotfix for Vista Cockpit, is the patch for Vista Cockpit, which is this. And the second step third step is going to server 1, right? And install SALSA domain, and also installing the report, the IP report. So over here, download IP reporter, and the server 2. So the IV server, and with the IV server you have this the software. So, and in this server 2 you need also IP reporter, so as in the server 1. Next step is go to Vista Cockpit, Vista Cockpit on server 3, and installing also the hotfix for IV server over here. And finally, in this server 3, you are going to install your Portal SC software, over here, and the corresponding hotfix for the Portal SC, and finally the IP Reporter web. So with all that, you can create your domain as we did and test the reporting. So thank you very much for your attention. I hope this video could be useful for you.